for granted, but not people with alopecia areata. Alopecia is a medical term for autoimmune hair loss, a condition that affects about 2% of the world's population. In Washington, about 148,000 people have alopecia. It can happen at any age, and some people are born with it. Doctors do not know what causes it, and although there are treatments, there is no cure. Deeann Graham has had alopecia since she was a child. By the time she was 30, she had complete hair loss. Feeling isolated, Deeann wrote a book called Head On: Stories of Alopecia. Her hope is to educate people about alopecia and let others know who have it they are not alone. Deeann is here with me now. Thank you for being here. In the book, you talk a lot about the moment of discovery, and you say that's the moment when someone realizes that they're losing their hair. What was that moment like for you?
It actually happened at the age of 7, so I was a young girl, and I remember coming out of the bath, and my mother was brushing my hair, and I could hear her gasp, and obviously something was going on, and then I looked at her and I said, you know, what's happening? And she said, pretty much nothing, you know, let's just go to bed and we'll figure it out. And the next progression was me going to the doctor and them diagnosing me with alopecia areata.
Alopecia is not something that we hear about. It's certainly not something that we talk a lot about. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, people can feel, as you said, isolated. They can feel alone. Kids can be bullied because of it. Mm-hmm. What do you want people to know about alopecia?
Alopecia is a condition. It's not a disease. When you see people who are bald, it's often thought that you have cancer, and that's a question that we get constantly. You know, how's your treatment going? Are you suffering? And the reality is this condition does not hurt us. It's our hair follicles. It's an autoimmune condition, so our body attacks our hair follicles and our hair falls out. And that can range from a spot to different variations. And
there's a lot of myths out there. I mean, one being it's not contagious.
Definitely it's not contagious, and I like to explain it to kids as if your body, you know, if you have a friend they're allergic to peanut butter or something, and so they just can't have peanut butter, so our body's allergic to hair, and that actually puts it into terms that they can understand, because there's kids that are allergic to all sorts of things these days, and it makes it easier for them to understand.
It was interesting, you were telling me there are lots of different forms of alopecia.
Mm-hmm. And alopecia areata is the medical term, and that means spots. And you may have one spot or two, and it's usually the size of a coin, and it may just grow back spontaneously, or if you have an injection, a steroid injection, it may grow back. And it may progress to alopecia totalis, which is complete scalp loss, and then eventually it may turn into alopecia universalis, which is head to toe hair loss.
There is support for people with alopecia. The Children's Alopecia Project, or CAP, helps kids build self-esteem. They offer a summer camp with kids with alopecia. Also, the National Alopecia Areata Foundation is a nonprofit that connects people to a network of support groups all across the country. We have much more information and links to both of these organizations on our website. Go to q13fox.com and search hair loss. Well, normally you'd want to be careful in a business